whomever Onward Tribe. Many of you know I release something once a month called my Commander's Coffee, and my most recent coffee is really one of my favorite. And I'm figuring out through these different vehicles through which to get content out there what the coffee is going to become if I'm going to migrate kind of into a format more like this. I usually just do it handheld with my camera when I'm out and about in the world thinking of a concept, and I'll continue to do that. But this story got enough, or seemed to have enough resonance with people in the feedback I got, that I wanted to share it again, because it's just one of those personal ones that I think in many ways you can't do better than the lessons that come out of your everyday life. I had an interesting situation with one of my daughters just a few days ago. She's my eldest. She's in high school, and she's playing volleyball. She's athletic. She was always in dance, and is a skier and very, very capable athlete. She just never played team sports. It's not something she gravitated towards. And so team sports, which is my entire background, is not something she ever pursued. And then when she got to high school, she said, I feel like I'm done with dance. The intensity level of where I am in dance, the amount of travel, and only being able to do that is not something I want. So I'd like to try something new, and I think I'm going to try out for the volleyball team. I'm super excited about this. Of course, I'm now panicked at this point because I'm thinking, well, not everybody gets a blue ribbon in high school. You haven't been playing 7 years of club volleyball. I hope this works out. Sure enough, she makes the team, one of the few that makes it that hadn't played a bunch of club. We finished the season. She loves it. And so now we have to get in club so you can play in the off season to kind of work your way up the ladder. And right now she's in the trenches. She's trying out a lot of these different clubs. They're pretty Spartan, austere locations as far as, like, if you're not a member of that club, you got to go into that meat grinder and, stand out and hopefully get a spot. I mean, they're offering kids opportunities to play on the team. You can't just sign up. I mean, it's hyper competitive. I think we've actually solidly damaged youth sports with this whole club and travel and expensive world, but that's the way of the world. It is what it is. But she went to a new club recently. My bride and I even have a conversation about how, hey, she's going, this is my bride talking to me. She's like, she's going to, a new club. It's going to be intimidating when she comes out. She needs you to be there for her and just listen and kind of pay attention what she has to say. I'm like, oh, of course, no problem. So I've given her plenty of guidance. I mean, anybody that has a kid knows they don't want guidance or coaching from you. They want it from coaches, and every once in a while you get an opportunity to share a nugget. But like I said, I played up through, Division I sports. So in the world of my knowledge base, there's not a lot I know better than team sports. But she comes out of the session. She gets to the car. I can see she's upset. I say, how did it go? And it was better than I thought, at least to start. She said, it went pretty good. I don't feel like I played my best. And then she makes a comment where she says, I'm really not sure what position I should be playing. There's lots of positions in volleyball: outside hitter, middle blocker, defensive specialist, all these different spots. I've told her or given guidance that she has a body type, a size, and ability set where I think she should be playing this position. Not heavy-handedly, but I've given that to her. And so when she says, I don't know what position I should be playing, I basically lose my mind. All she needed from me in that moment was just to listen, be a soft landing spot, and just give her, hey, I'm sorry it was tough tonight. We can talk about it later. That's all she needed me to say. If you had written a script on how to respond poorly, I did it better than if you had written a script. I mean, I blew it. I got mad. She got mad. I got upset. She got upset. Now we're in a fight when all I want to do is support her, and such is life. I, give her a hard time about that. Of course, my mind now is she's so upset about it. I got home. I apologized in the car. I got home, but I could tell my nervous system was off. Everything was wrong, and I knew I needed to make it right. Of course, as a parent, I'm like, good job. Everything you've done up through this year in her life is, giving her good guidance. What you did just in the car now, she's probably going to be an exotic dancer and, working on the street and on heroin within the fortnight. And while that's not the case, of course, I go in, I apologize to her one more time. She feels like things are better, but not great. And then I tell my bride when she gets home what happened. I really had to go to her because she is truly one of my greatest counselors. My bride has an emotional, relational intelligence I have almost never seen the equal of. She understands people and behavior better than anyone I've ever met. And so I asked her about this situation, and she's the perfect person, of course, because she knows both parties involved. But she said, "Hey, you didn't. I'm not going to give you a complete pass because you didn't handle it perfectly or the way we had discussed to handle it, but it's probably not as bad as you think," which is part one of what I want to share with you. Part two was even better, and she said, when I think about my relationships and I think about life and the situation we get ourselves into, I think about it as almost as an author, as if I'm writing a script or a chapter of my life. And of course, she knows this is going to appeal to me because I love literature and I love to write. And I was like, I got you. And she said, as long as you're alive, and she knows, of course, life and death and good and bad and light and dark are all going to be things that are going to resonate with me. She says, as long as you're still alive, you can keep writing. The way you closed, or at this point have closed that chapter with your eldest, is not done unless you want it to be done. So keep writing. Write it better. Which is some of the better advice I've ever gotten in my life. I waited to the next morning. I talked with my daughter. We had this amazing conversation where she was very open to some of the things I was saying. I was very open to listening to what she was saying. And boom, we're right back on track. I mean, obviously, based on that conversation, she'll probably be a 4-time All-American Olympian and win a Pulitzer Prize. So she's back on the path. But all jokes aside, I want you to take two things away from this concept. One, when you make a mistake, it's probably never as bad as you think it is. And two, if you've got a heart beating in your chest and air left in your lungs, no matter how bad things are, keep writing. Ever onward.